Good morning, lords and ladies. Welcome back to A Morning with the Lord. This is our 13th episode. A lucky number. Oh, I said that right on 13 seconds. Oh my god. Yes, 13 episodes. Getting on a bit of a roll. The date today is the 9th of the 11th, 2021. And today, I've delved into Channel 9 News again. An old favourite. Simply because Channel 7, I don't know. I just don't know. Yeah, it's funny, I was, blah, 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 blah. First thing in the morning. Can't speak properly. Anyway, I was going through YouTube last night, and I felt like watching some paranormal videos, which I haven't done in a while. Don't do it all that often, but I love that stuff. Actually, the whole reason I even started getting into filming and wanting to record and all that sort of stuff was only because I wanted to start a ghost hunting troupe, which still hasn't come to fruition yet. We had a good team, and then I lost my phone, and lost all the contacts of the people that I was talking to. But anyway, yeah, I was going through YouTube. I thought I'd go look up paranormal videos, and the first, no word of a lie, the first video to come up is a compilation from Channel 7 of, it said, Ghost, Demon, Bigfoot videos, compilation from the web. Now, I missed the first, 30 seconds, I think, which I think only had the only sort of ghost video in it, and the rest was just people having videos of finding Bigfoot. And it's like, but I can't believe Channel 7. Why the bloody hell is Channel 7 putting out compilation ghost videos? And two, why is that first in my fucking YouTube, suggested videos? There are heaps of big, ghost channels on YouTube. My favourite one's Top 5s. And there's another one called Dark 5, which is good too, but it doesn't narrate the videos. It's just sound and you got to read. So I don't watch them as much. But yeah, I actually watched those two, and they weren't even in me feed. There's an Australian dude called Slapped Ham, and he's okay. He's gotten a lot better. In the beginning, his first videos were a lot of the obviously fake stuff. But, he was just trying to make content, and everyone watches that shit. So, there's nothing wrong with that. Plenty of videos show all them obviously fake videos. But, I just thought it absolutely surprising. And this is what I was saying about how the internet has changed since the new laws have come in about, how we want to monitor our internet. And I just don't understand why it blocks the other good videos, but, to take out, actual decent channels and put up Channel 7 as a first suggestion is obviously somehow been orchestrated to do that, because nobody is going to be watching compilations from fucking Channel 7. And I don't know if they should be trying to validify these sort of things by making compilation videos. They're a fucking news channel. And a lot of the time, while I love all that stuff, you don't see it on the news much because it's not meant to be given, or doesn't get given that sort of weight generally. Unless it's something, actually pretty anomalous. And the Bigfoot videos, I don't know how anomalous a compilation of a big chunk of Bigfoot videos can really be. Like, yeah, no, I don't know. I just thought it was weird. I've actually just brought YouTube up here while we're on the track. I have news stories queued up, don't you worry. But to illustrate, I'm going to type in paranormal videos. And now they're not there. Oh no, it's the third one down now. But, you know, that's even different to last night. And this, the video that's now first has only 10% of the views that the Channel 7 one has. But yeah, so there we go. And the rest are all from fucking Mindseed TV, Channel 7, Mindseed, fucking Watch Mojo. That's the other thing. Yeah, BuzzFeed, Unsolved Network is one of the main ones that come up. These are all like, you know, actual TV channels. You can't find what happened. YouTube was a haven of just awesome content. And now we get like all these clips from just TV shows, and channels have just disappeared. I don't know, if you're in another country, I'd really like to hear it. Like, just type in paranormal videos and comment what comes up first. You know, say like the first 5. I've got Story Trender, Mindseed TV, then 7 News, Story Trender again, and then Mindseed TV again. That sucks. It really, really does. I mean, I understand YouTube having to be taking down the TV shows that, you know, no one paid to play in a public domain. But where's all the original creators and stuff? It sucks, man. They've taken it from us. Okay, so let's get back into some news. We're going to quickly talk about the climate committee, because unfortunately I was scrolling through the news and it is almost completely just talking about the vaccine booster rollout. Almost the entire, like every video on YouTube and most of the top stories today. So I had to scroll through a fair bit to find some decent stories that weren't vaccine related. But this story here is, as I said, to do with the climate change meeting that went on, and it is titled "Fossil Fuel Companies Have More Than 500 People at COP26, More Than Any Single Country," reporter says. Now that's pretty interesting, because as we all know, everything stopping anything being done is big money and big fossil fuel companies. There's a video here. Let's give it a listen.
Political campaigns are rich with surprises.
I pledge to put the people of Paterson first.
Home from a torrid trot overseas, the Prime Minister is now on a domestic tour with an election in his sights and 2 candidates in tow.
By supporting them, the hunter is supporting their own future.
Today he was in the New South Wales Hunter region, home to 41 coal mines, where there are fears about the future.
Our plans to move to a low emissions future very much have the hunter at the centre of our thinking.
And not just because of the transition to cleaner energy. The Coalition has its eyes on 3 seats around the coal port of Newcastle, all held by Labor on narrow margins. Hunter on 3%, Shortland on 4.5%, and Patterson on 5%. The pitch here is keeping old jobs while building new ones through cleaner fuels like hydrogen.
To power up Australia's recovery out of the COVID pandemic.
Labor is determined to ensure Scott Morrison doesn't recover.
The Prime Minister is getting desperate.
The opposition is hoping his travails overseas follow him home.
He knows he's behind in the polls. He knows that a lot of people don't trust him. More and more people are calling him a liar.
The Prime Minister...
That guy talking just then was the Shadow Minister for Housing. I imagine he's probably Labor, but why the fucking hell is the Shadow Minister for Labor commenting? Shouldn't it, if anyone, be the opposition leader? But then, yeah, I don't know. That's a typical news tact, I guess. But it's almost finished. We'll listen to the rest.
Who wants to fight this election in the regions and the suburbs and on the battlefield of national security and the economy. And the government believes its vaccine rollout is now a plus.
Australia's on track to be one of the most vaccinated countries in the world.
Along with its financial support.
Everything was thrown at us, and in response, we threw everything back.
That's not how the opposition will pitch it.
If they want to have an election on stagnant wages, bring it on.
With an election due by May, this could be a very long game. Chris Ullman, 9 News.
Absolutely fabulous.
Shut up.
Election coming up soon, so can almost guarantee that 90% of the fucking stories are going to be election related from now on, which is a pain in the neck because we don't have campaigning here in Australia like the Americans do. So I guess everything comes from the news and talk just about policy, but that's where it becomes this sly, underhanded sort of shit. In Australia, you know, it's a big thing at the moment that Rupert Murdoch owns the majority of the press. So whatever sort of government that is in power at the time gets a large boost to their abilities because the news are sort of, you know, coerced to write certain stories as the theory goes. But it's fairly true, you know. Numbers don't lie, and Jordan Shanks has spent a lot of time going into this himself, so there's no real need for me to cover it. Yeah, that video, once again, had nothing to do with the story itself, I guess. So let's have a read here, see what the actual story says. More than 100 fossil fuel companies are understood to have sent 500 lobbyists to the COP26 climate talks in Glasgow, Scotland. More than any single country at the summit, according to the environmental campaign group Global Awareness. Now they say more than any single country at the summit. I imagine what they're saying is there's more lobbyists than there is members from a certain country at the summit. But isn't that fairly bloody obvious? I mean, how many politicians do we send over? The only one you heard about was Scott Morrison. I'm sure there had to be some other people there. But do you really expect any single country to be sending a team of 500? Hell no. Let's keep going. The group analysed the UN provisional list of named corporate attendees and found at least 503 people linked with coal, oil and gas companies were at the conference. Fossil fuel use is the biggest driver of human-made climate change. The list included people either directly affiliated with fossil fuel companies, including Shell, Gazprom and BP, as well as those attending as members of delegations and groups that act on behalf of the fossil fuel industry. Before I go on to, when it comes to what they're talking about, especially the change in coal to other more sustainable resources, that has a lot to do with the fossil fuels, obviously. And as they're saying, they're going to want to, the idea is to build and have the jobs there ready to go for people that are losing them. So, it's as peaceful a turnover as possible. And you would imagine from that the companies owning these new power stations, or however it's going to be done, are most likely going to be the fossil fuel companies we have now. They're not going to, they're not going to die. They're not going to let that happen. So, of course, they're going to be there, and you are going to need, you're going to need experts from within those companies themselves to describe any questions that need asking. Especially if the climate summit is talking about how much emissions are coming out. Sure, the one or two politicians from each country could have fucking stacks and stacks of paperwork there, with stats and figures, but it's just as easy to send someone there to talk about it who knows. So while this story, is obviously, that's a title and a story that would be considered interesting to most. I don't think they're really going to portray it as, I don't think it's really the worst thing that it seems to be. It's not like they're there just forcing money, or there to try and gangster the politicians into doing what they say. Got someone in the middle that brings up solar energy, and you just hear the click of a fucking pistol hammer, Let's continue here. I think it's a very short article. Oh no, it's pretty long, but we'll read a little bit, see what else I got to say. The analysis found that the fossil fuel lobby had around 24 more delegates than the largest country delegation. They also outnumbered the event's official indigenous constituency by around 2 to 1, as well as the number of delegates from the 8 worst affected countries by climate change over the last 2 decades: Puerto Rico, Myanmar, Haiti, the Philippines, Mozambique, the Bahamas, Bangladesh and Pakistan. The presence of hundreds of those being paid to push the toxic interests of polluting fuel companies will only increase the skepticism of climate activists who see these talks as more evidence the global leaders dithering and delaying, said Murray Worthy, gas campaign leader at Global Witness. And that's what I was saying. Yeah, this is, that's obviously going to draw a lot of ire, but it makes sense, I believe. especially under the way that they're going to do it. I mean, we can all think of magical ways we could do things, like just close down the fucking power plants. But this thing I heard somewhere, like the amount of nuclear waste that we have, and nuclear power plants going, it is going to, I believe, like it's going to be a very hard process. I'm not, I am no nuclear scientist, but you would think if they were going to close it down, you would at least run out the fuel that you've got, not reload it, but just run out the fuel. And if we were all to disappear off the earth today, so there was all the people just dropped dead of the Rona or something, then the amount of nuclear power plants we have at the moment would go into meltdown, and the earth is fucked. And we still, there's been lots of videos done on this. There's a really good one from John Oliver talking about nuclear waste disposal. But we don't know what we're doing with that. We don't know where to send that, what to do with it. Besides the fact it would actually remove the minerals from the planet, which could be harmful when you think about it in a very long term type of way. But I would honestly just throw all the nuclear waste into the fucking sun. If I had my way. I don't think that would be an easy way to deal with it. I don't know about throwing it out just into space randomly, seeing as space debris is fucking dangerous. It's a cool thing, actually. I was watching a thing a while back, and the rotational speed of the debris in space, if a single bolt from the space station was flying loose in space and came into contact with the space station, it would have enough force itself to rip through it. That's, it's bloody dangerous up there. So creating litter in space is a terrible idea. But we've got a giant fireball there. Chuck her in. Now, that probably comes with its whole list of own problems, like solar flares, but it's pretty big. I don't know how much more a couple of tons of uranium's going to hurt it. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Like I said, I've only got 2 more stories to look at because everything else is just about booster shots. I didn't Google world news. I probably should have to got something more interesting, but we'll see how we go, see what time's like. The next one here.
From the marker for everything comes the pen
how much
for
does
everything.
Sharpie pay for these ads? Child suffers chemical burns on her tongue from eating sour lollies. I thought this would be interesting to have a look at. Is there a video from it? Yeah, it is, but I don't really want to watch it. But yeah, I thought this is interesting because I don't remember that happening as a child. And I'm always trying to keep an eye on the changing state of food. Because there's it's pretty interesting. I remember years ago, you used to be able to get this phone app. I don't know if you still can. But it went through all the additives and showed you which countries allowed those additives in and what the side effects of certain additives were. And as we all know, the E's are generally terrible, but it's quite surprising how terrible, because there is warnings quite clearly that the some of those E chemicals that they use cause genetic mutations. And as far as I'm aware, well, yeah, genetic mutations are just fucking terrible. But they were found in almost all Allen's lollies, which we all bloody eat. And God knows what's happening with that. And I was a baker for 12 years, and I worked with people who had been to the food science labs, and they confirmed they had seen their stuff there that the scientists would be researching or just have there as stock, but clearly said they had it could cause genetic defects, which why the bloody hell is that in food? Fuck me drunk. So I thought we'd give this a look because it's about warheads, I'm pretty sure. A sour lolly, pretty famous. We all used to eat them. Let's see what it says. A Melbourne mum wants other parents to know the dangers of sour lollies after her child suffered chemical burns on her tongue from eating warheads. Willow Wright's tongue experienced a painful chemical reaction after she ate around 10 warhead lollies. The little girl rightly said it felt like the skin was coming off her tongue. She was left with a large hole on her tongue where the skin peeled off. Mother Kirsty Wright said she was concerned about her daughter's reaction to the lollies. I burst into tears because I was really worried, she said. I've seen this before. Miss Wright called her GP, who said there wasn't much they could do, suggesting using ice and Panadol to manage the pain. Dental Association of Australia, Jonathan Teo, said the lollies contained high levels of acid. The sour warhead lollies in particular can be very dangerous, he said. Products with this level of acid or pH can cause chemical burns to cheeks and tongue. The other thing too, how many lollies did they say she had? Did it say there? 10. Yeah. You suck on 10 lollies, like they're the long lasting sort of lollies unless you chew them. You suck on 10 of them for long enough. You don't need just high levels of acid. You fucking give yourself what's it called? Blisters and that anyway. Ulcers, sorry. And it screws your
But the
tongue up.
marker for everything comes the pen.
So, yeah. Fair enough. That was a pretty weak article. And don't give bloody 4-year-olds 10 fucking sour bloody warheads. They're sour as shit, so they make you suck more anyway. Just try and get past it. And those hard lollies, they get a bloody sharp little edge on them. You're going to be taking skin off and getting more acid underneath. You're only young, got a very soft tongue, hasn't been ruined by years of alcohol abuse. So that doesn't really surprise me. Now, the next story I've got here is one that the title I definitely find interesting. It says, Swooping Crows Terrorising Gold Coast Civil Avenue Stump Experts. I find this interesting in particular because crows are, I think, our smartest bird. And this hardly ever normally happens. Now, for years we've been hearing about, I've been hearing about increased animal attacks, but mainly the stuff you hear is water related. Like, there's some really cool videos of divers getting attacked by squid, I think it is. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's squid. And, I'm pretty sure, the reports I remember seeing, and this was years ago now, was of increased animal attacks in the ocean And I think it's quite telling because, we believe animals to be fucking stupid, but I don't think that in the slightest. And especially seeing as, like I said, I'm pretty sure crows are, if not our smartest, they're definitely one of our smartest animals. They're the only animal that can eat a cane toad, as far as I'm aware, because they're smart enough to put them on their back and eat around the poison. So they're pretty clever little guys. And if they're attacking a large amount of humans, I bet there's been some fucking kids or something, bloody kids, stirring them up. Or maybe they're just finally getting the shit. Screw you humans, we're fighting back. Crawl! Let's have a read here. A murder of crows has been terrifying pedestrians on the Gold Coast Civil Avenue. Captured swooping at passers-by in what experts are calling a rare display of aggression. The 3 crows have been seen terrorising people and have been reported to the local council. Behavioural ecologist Daryl Jones from Griffith University said the behaviour was incredibly rare. They don't seem to hit anybody, they're just scaring the crap out of people, Mr. Jones said. What about Mrs. Jones? It's not to be expected. It's still really unusual, but some crows have taken to doing it. Nobody really understands why. He said the birds were highly intelligent and tend to hold grudges towards specific people. They will remember individual people. They will swoop them and probably give their lives hell. So if you're getting swooped by a crow, go a different direction until the crows have finished their breeding season, Mr. Jones said. While all reports of swooping birds are investigated by the council, some are more difficult to catch and relocate than others. Crows are so insanely smart that they're virtually impossible to catch. The most common swooping culprits over spring tend to be magpies defending their nests, with experts warning people to be aware of swoopers from July. Residents are recommended to avoid areas where it's evident a bird may be nesting. Making eye contact with the bird may make it less likely to attack you, with sunglasses recommended to protect your eyes. Well, that's, I find it funny there's only 3 crows, but yeah, obviously someone's fucking done something. Like they said, they're smart, they recognise people. That's got to be, that's not large enough numbers to be some animal conspiracy splinter terrorist group or something. Excuse me. I would imagine that had a lot to do with, being attacked. What sort of time we at here? 3:33:39. Well, considering as I looked at it at 3:33, and today is a slow news day, we might leave it there. I don't know how much more I'm going to find today, so I'd like to thank you all for joining me. It's been a lovely morning with everybody, looking over some extremely pointless news stories. So, I don't know if anyone got anything out of this morning, except for don't forget to go on YouTube paranormal videos for me. Tell me what comes up. And I will check back with you all on the morrow.